according to a new survey, it turns out the majority of Gen Z know why they are crazy. They blame social media for the current mental health crisis that is plaguing their generation. But ironically, they refuse to stop doom scrolling. They know what's good for them. They just don't care enough to stop.
That's the worst place to be.
Which is the perfect encapsulation of their nihilism.
Yeah. I love the TikToks that promote like this wellness and stepping away from the phone. But all the people watching those TikToks are on their phone. The person that made the TikTok is on their phone. It's just like this hilarious irony to me.
Look, I fight with that one a lot because I'm pretty consistent in saying like take time away from your phone. But I'll usually say it on here. I usually don't tweet that, right? Because the whole point is like, are you actively helping by tweeting about it? But the point would be like, if you tweet it on a Friday and then you get off the phone for the weekend and somebody takes your advice, I guess that's good. But it just ends up being a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
You just need to post the most disturbing content possible so that people are so disgusted and horrified that they put their phone down.
Yeah, like Brat Summer.
That's the secret.
And Swifties for Kamala.
Did you see the John Cena article?
Yeah, we talked about that as well.
He's got like 1 million people he follows.
See, I like the idea.
That looks like hell.
I like the idea that he does look at my stuff every day, and he's like, "That's an interesting person."
Yeah.
Do you think you get through the weeds?
No.
Of those 800, no. I think it's like 850,000.
Like, I wonder who shows up. Like, if you follow 850,000 people, is it just the people who tweet the most?
Well, okay, here's a controversial question. Are you guys, when you're on Twitter, do you do the following or the For You tab? Which one do you do?
I use both.
I do the For You as well.
I don't look at following, actually.
Apparently that's the controversial stance.
I use both. Usually because my For You, my following tab tells me something that I might already know or believe in. And then the For You will give me ideas that I don't necessarily agree with. And it's a good balance.
Or the algorithm just commandeers you and forces you to look at disturbing fight videos.
Well, the problem, that's why rage bait sucks, because you get angry, so you're staring at a post for 5 seconds longer than you normally stare at posts. So then you get fed more of that garbage.
Yeah.
My point whenever I talk about this is like, anything that makes you mad on Twitter, I want you to ask yourself how often that thing sticks with you. That's even worse somehow. It's like, it makes you really angry, and then 3 minutes later you freaking forgot it ever happened.
That's not good for the psyche.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Like, at least when something makes you really mad and you're passionate about it, you have the luxury of caring enough to remember about it later and dissecting it. What's worse than just incrementally being fed a bunch of stuff that makes you angry and then not remembering what it was?
They're going to say Zins have all these health effects and like caffeine, but really it's going to be social media that starts just messing us all up as we get older.
You know why I think
Gen
Z has kind of turned away from downers and is all about the stimulants like nicotine, caffeine, Adderall? It's because social media and doom scrolling can be so disorienting and fatiguing that they need to zero in.
They need to muscle up so that they
need to like be able to focus on one thing at a time. No, and those ideas that you come across, or those images and videos, linger with you for longer than you think. But this says 3 in 4 Gen Z Americans are putting the blame on social media for having a negative impact on their mental health. 20% of Gen Zers cite Instagram and TikTok as detrimental to their well-being, followed by Facebook at 13%. I'm honestly kind of surprised by that. I didn't think that many Gen Zers even used it.
It's the marketplace experience.
Social media remains an integral part of their life. The average user spends a whopping 5.5 hours per day on social media apps, with 45% believing they outpace their own friends' usage time. Boredom, seeking laughter, staying informed, and keeping tabs on friends are the primary motivators for their online engagement.
First of all, the keeping tabs on friends thing sounds unnecessarily Stasi-esque in a weird way, but it's obviously I know what they mean. But look, it really is the product of just getting angry at something and then forgetting it ever happened. I just now remembered I was reading this infuriating thread last Friday about how they should race swap Magneto, but not Charles Xavier, but not Professor X, because of the fact that Professor X was privileged and didn't face racism, you know, and even because he was a mutant, but could pass as a normal person, they should keep him white because he's privileged, so he would need to look white that way. But you can race swap the guy who's been oppressed, because everyone else who's been oppressed has been oppressed in their own way, but they're interchangeable, right? So they're like, they only want to keep the race of the guy when it's somebody they want to critique. Okay. Right? And I'm reading it, and I'm just annoyed. And I forgot it happened until just now.
It's also not important. Like, even if you weren't annoyed, like, all that information is just not important. That's the type of conversation
matter, right? Well,
you have at a bar with your friends. Like, oh, did you guys see, you know, what Marvel's doing now? And that stuff comes up.
Yes. Well, no, I mean, it is important though for my job. So,
I get frustrated because like I don't like it for me, like having a keyboard and just the nature of social media. I don't feel like I can actually express myself on there. So I feel like that gets bottled up. Where if we're in person and we're having a debate about something, like Mary, you and I have debated like random things before, but like we can get our point out. We can express ourselves to the extent that we need to. On social media, it's a lot harder.
Well, in order to excel at social media, in order to be successful at influencing people online, you either need to be born with sociopathic traits or you need to adopt them over time, because
you have to not care.
The fear,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the fear of being misinterpreted or reaching the wrong audience is something that you have to kill inside you.
I tell you that all the time.
So that you can click post.
It's
something you need to do in order to publish your thoughts, because you know for a fact that you will be misinterpreted. It's inevitable.
I tell you that all the time, that one of the reasons I will never be successful in this space is I kill tons of things that I write, tons of things that I want to talk about, because I can already see how it's going to be interpreted the wrong way. And I don't want to engage with it, because usually when I want to post about something, it's literally just trying to pull something and get it off your chest, just get it away from you. And I don't want to have to deal with the misinterpretation. And there is an infinite amount of people, even people who make like satire content, have to do so knowing that it's going to be dissected into think pieces.
Well, that some people are going to see it and think that it's genuine and not satire, which would, you know, kill a lot of people. But you kind of have to just kill your ego in order to be successful.
I couldn't do it. I have too much pride.
Well, I was just gonna say, maybe we need to bring like blogs back, because like I guarantee.
I mean, that's what Substack is for.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
But then you have to be good at writing, and
I feel the same way about Substack that I feel about LinkedIn. It's just like this thing that everyone's trying to get me to use, and I just I don't want to.
Yeah.
But like having a blog, like let's say the show had a website, right, with a homepage and a landing page, and you could just be your thoughts on whatever, and then it's like, yeah, there's a comment section. But it's not like your phone's ringing and going off.
Go to popculturecrisis.com. You'll be shocked at what you see.
Oh.
It's funny that they also cited boredom as the top reason for their social media usage.
Nobody could get ahead.
You're only bored because you don't engage with your life. You would have more to do with your time if you weren't spending time online.
It's a bad cycle, though.
And
you're trained to like. This instant gratification makes you bored, and that's why you're on social media.
I'm online because I'm bored. I'm bored because I'm online.
Yep.
It's a never-ending cycle. They would be seeing their friends more if this wasn't a component of all of their lives.
It's funny too, because it affects your attention span in the real world. Not even doing something super important, right? So if I'm watching a TV show and doom scrolling, I consistently change the show. But if I just set my phone down for 20 to 30 minutes and then try to engage with something, I usually can stick with that show for longer.
You have to like kind of like get out of that zone. Yeah.
Yep.
Nearly half of Gen Z respondents say they experience negative emotions from social media use, with stress and anxiety affecting 30% of respondents. Those who experience those negative feelings report that it takes only 38 minutes of scrolling before their mood begins to sour.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you all the time, go watch any video on YouTube of somebody who's made the thing. It's like, I took a year off social media. Never once will you see one where they're like, I regret it.
Yeah.
Like, they love it. It's the best thing for them.
Or there's no follow-ups. Their channel went dark after that.
Or doing that can be seen as a luxury for some people, because a lot of people say, you know, I need this for my job.
To play.
Well, we do.
And we definitely need it for our job.
I for a long time, I resisted Twitter in this job, and it made my job infinitely more annoying, but infinitely easier to use it as a resource.
To play devil's advocate, though, like the economy does play. I was thinking about this the other night, just on the drive home, and like the economy plays into so many of these social issues way more than anyone really gives us credit for, right? Like if like going out with your friends was cheap, I truly think more people would be doing it. But right now, like everyone needs a cell phone, so then you need a cell phone plan, right? That's eating up some of your income. Then you need to make sure you have service. So you need to go somewhere that's like developed, right? So you're living in a higher income area, right? All of this stuff eats away at your income, and then what are you left with? A few dollars to your name and a phone.
I think there's
it's like we talked about.
There's an area in West Virginia where
it's
called the quiet zone.
Yeah.
And there's no internet there. I think you can have like,
I forget why. I remember reading about that place. It's like maybe 2 hours south of us, something like that.
Yeah. Why is it like that?
It's for testing. Either
like they have like towers that.
It's either.
Well, there are people who purposefully live in this quiet zone area because, you know, they don't want to live with the constant noise and the constant distractions of modern life. And I think it's making people miserable, but they can't stop feeding into it. They can't stop leaning in. It's literally behavior of addiction to any drug, any substance.
Yes, absolutely.
It has all of the same markers, but it's sort of like food addiction, where it can be the most difficult because you can never get away from it. I mean, obviously food, but the internet is so entrenched in how we live our lives. You have to use it to like buy tickets to a concert, and you have to use it to download the QR code menu at any trendy restaurant that you might go to. And you need it for even government applications,
National Park Service, right? You want to go out and get nature and get away from it all. Oh, but you have to buy a ticket.
Or to find out when any of these businesses are open, or to get directions to anywhere you go, because nobody has a sense of direction anymore.
I think this is probably an East Coast bias, though, a little bit, this super online, because I think you do, like, as you get west and you get, like, you know, the flyover country, you can really get away from it all pretty easily. I think, you know, the East Coast has been...
Well, if you're living in a smaller place, you go to the same businesses every day. You don't have to...
But even, like, West Virginia has nothing when it comes to being rural on somewhere like Montana or Wyoming, right? Like, truly, like, no people around, not really that much infrastructure, so it's easier to get out.
Well,
it's
even
easier.
Those places are getting colonized.
Oh yeah, it's inevitable.
Californians.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.